Yo, what's up, guys? It's Noah here, breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Sunday, March the 1st. We're going to cover Sunday's four-game slate. Got a short slate today, but we'll do like we normally do, go through each position, talk about the players that stand out to me the most, looking at the slate on Sunday, or Saturday night, excuse me. These are my first looks at the slate. I am recording this video late Saturday night. There are some teams on back-to-backs today, so that'll be something we need to watch heading into Sunday, especially on the Warriors side. The Warriors are on a back-to-back. They played Saturday night. They have a game again Sunday night against the Wizards. They did have a couple of guys out Saturday. Jordan Poole was out. Draymond Green was out as well, so we're going to need to watch some injuries there. The Lakers were on a back-to-back. They also had guys out. Danny Green was out Saturday. You know, the Lakers have kind of been a little hesitant with LeBron and AD's workload, so something to keep an eye on heading into that game. We'll talk through this slate, talk through these four games, go position by position, just hit on the players that I like the most. We'll hit on DraftKings pricing. We'll switch over to Yahoo. We'll talk about some guys I do like over on Yahoo as well. Just before we do get started, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you have not yet, you can follow me on Twitter. Link down below is my Twitter account at DFS by Noah. If you do want to give me a follow there, as always, I greatly appreciate that. If you ever need to contact me, you can do so on Twitter. Also, link down below is my Patreon. By the time you're watching this video, it's probably going to be March the 1st. I'll be uploading this video late Saturday night. But by the time you're watching this, you'll probably be watching this video on Sunday. It is the beginning of a new month, which is usually the best time to join the Patreon. So if you have ever wanted to become a Patreon member, I do recommend joining at the very beginning of the month, so that way you kind of get the full value out of your money. You can check out all my exclusive content I do have to offer over on Patreon. I won't have an article up for this slate. I just post my articles Monday through Friday, but I will give some updated core plays, especially after we get some updates on these injuries. Guys like Draymond, Jordan Poole, see what happens with the Lakers with them on a back-to-back. Once we get some injury updates, Toronto's also a team that's pretty or a team that's going to be pretty key to keep an eye on. They have a lot of guys questionable. Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka, those are guys to watch. So I'll have some updated core plays on Patreon after we do get some injury news throughout the day. If you want to get access to those updated core plays, get access to my article Monday through Friday, get access to our Discord chat, you can check all that out. Link down below on Patreon, patreon.com/DFS by Noah. But let's go ahead and take a look at point guard for today, guys. We'll start off at the top, where LeBron James is our most expensive point guard. He's also the most expensive player overall on the slate, $10,900. This is a really good spot for LeBron against the Pelicans. These teams just played a couple days ago. You did get big games from both guys, both LeBron and Anthony Davis. LeBron had 60 DraftKings points in 34 minutes against them, had 40 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. It was just overall a great game from LeBron. Shot the ball 27 times. I mean, I'd expect him to put up similar numbers today. At his $10,900 salary, I think I'd rather roster Anthony Davis because he is $1,000 less. AD also in a great spot. Put up a similar outing against the Pelicans. He had 57 DK points in 36 minutes. Both guys played really well. I would expect both guys to do very well again today. It is a great matchup here. We do know the Pelicans play at a very fast pace. They are 4th in pace this season. They've been improving on the defensive end, but they still rank 21st in defensive rating on the season. We don't have a total yet on this game, but I have to imagine this game is going to have the highest total on the slate. From the 4 games we do have two totals from two of the 4 games. We got a 217 total in Detroit, Sacramento, and a 228.5 total in Washington and Golden State. I imagine this Lakers-New Orleans game is probably going to come in around like 233, 234. It should be a close game as well, especially because it's being played in New Orleans. This is going to be a game we want to get a lot of exposure to. LeBron's obviously a great pay-up option, but I think I would rather roster AD for $1,000 less. And when we get to power forward, we will talk more about Anthony Davis there. But then you have guys like Drew Holiday, Kyle Lowry, Brandon Ingram. I don't consider any of these guys core plays today. I think if I was going to roster one, especially if Fred VanVleet were to be out again, I think Kyle Lowry at 8,100, even in a tough spot against Denver, he does see a nice bump in usage with Fred VanVleet off the floor. We know Lowry is going to play massive minutes, played 38 minutes last game against Charlotte with VanVleet out, took 14 shots, 12 shots from 3, so I mean, kind of shot poorly from the field, only 35% from the field, only 25% from 3, and still had 46 DK points. He was able to contribute with the peripherals. He got 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. I'd expect similar numbers from Lowry today, if not better, if Van Vliet were to sit again. So he's my favorite guy to go to between like him, Drew, and Brandon Ingram. I think I'd rather roster Lowry there. De'Aaron Fox, I have a little bit of interest in against Detroit. I like this matchup for him. The Pistons are not a good defensive team versus point guards are not good defensively. They don't have Bruce Brown today, and Bruce Brown is one of their better defenders. So it is a pretty good matchup for Fox. I think he's fine to go to in the mid-range. But I think my favorite mid-range point guard is Derrick Rose. I really like Derrick Rose today. He's 6,600 on DraftKings. The price tag's starting to come up, but for good reason. He's been playing really well as of late. Really busted out in his last game against Phoenix. Played 30 minutes against them and had 45 DraftKings points, 31 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a block, and 2 steals. Took 24 shots in that game, which is overall a very productive game from Derrick Rose. We do need to take a look at his numbers with Drummond and Griffin off the floor. Like, Derrick Rose has really good numbers when you take these guys off the floor. I know that his minutes have kind of been down, which is maybe one of the reasons we haven't been rostering him. But the opportunity is going to be there, especially with Bruce Brown out again. I think that should solidify Derrick Rose for big minutes. You just look at his numbers this season with just Griffin and Drummond off the floor. Has a near 34% usage rate, averaging 1.31 fantasy points per minute. His assist percentage is up to 48%. We can take Bruce Brown off the floor as well because we do know that Bruce Brown's going to be out. I have to imagine the numbers just look even better for D-Rose if you take Brown off as well. Let's see. 33% usage rate, so pretty much similar numbers. 1.26 fantasy points per minute, 40% assist percentage. Like, Rose is going to get all the opportunity. It's just a matter of how many minutes will he play. The fact that he played 30 minutes last game makes me kind of confident he plays about 30 minutes again today. This is a game against Sacramento that should be close, if I had to guess. Right now, I believe this game has a close spread. Sacramento is favored by 7.5, so we should expect Rose to play probably 28 to 30 minutes today. I think he can give us 40-plus DraftKings points again. I like the spot a lot against the Kings. The Kings really aren't that good of a defensive team. De'Aaron Fox, by no means, is an elite defender, so give me some D-Rose in tournaments, especially if he's going to come in low-owned. I think on Yahoo, that's where he really stands out today. He's only $22. The price tag just hasn't caught up to what it should be. He should be priced similar to a guy like Jamal Murray, who's $27. So we are getting a good discount on D-Rose over on Yahoo as well. Really like him overall on this slate. I think he is one of my favorite options in this mid-range at point guard. And then if we're looking for value here, Shabazz Napier has started the last 2 games at point guard for the Wizards. Hasn't really been productive, though. It's kind of been disappointing. Just 24 and 25 minutes, 21 and 13 DraftKings points. Last game against Utah, that was a really tough matchup. And then in that game against Brooklyn, he did have some foul trouble issues in that game. I think most nights Napier's probably going to play about 30 minutes as long as he is the starting point guard. He's 4,700. It's a really good matchup against the Warriors. This game, the 2 late night games, the Lakers and Pelicans game, the Warriors and Wizards game, those are by far the 2 most appealing games on the slate, so I think getting exposure to this game makes a lot of sense. I do like Shabazz Napier quite a bit at 4,700. We know Ish Smith's going to get the minutes as well, probably play about mid-20s of minutes. But since Napier is the starter, I feel more confident in him. He's the guy that I prefer to roster at 4,700. He's the guy I prefer to go to. But yeah, I think that's probably it for point guard plays. I guess one guy we can mention is Alex Caruso. He did start on Saturday with Danny Green ruled out. If Danny Green sits again, I think we can definitely go to Caruso at 3,300, almost minimum salary. It's a great matchup against the Pelicans. I don't know what he's doing right now on Saturday night. I haven't checked box scores. Last time I did check, it was like right at the beginning of the game. I know he had I think he had around 12 fantasy points at halftime, so he was putting up a decent game Saturday night. Really good spot here. I mean, if we're going to get 30 minutes from Caruso against the Pelicans, if Danny Green were to sit again, I think at 3,300, he's definitely in play as a value option, a guy you could go to for cheap at this position. But let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard now. So at the top here, we do have Bradley Beal for 10,400, most expensive shooting guard. Really good matchup today for Bradley Beal. The guy has been playing at an incredibly high level as of late. You look at the game log, I mean, just been incredibly consistent. Last 4 games, he's given you 50-plus DK points in 4 straight games. Does have 60-plus in 3 of those 4 games, so has shown a really high ceiling. This is a fantastic matchup. This is a spot where he put up 58 DK points earlier this season against the Warriors in 39 minutes. His price tag, though, is getting to a point where it's hard to play him over guys like LeBron and Anthony Davis. I mean, you have LeBron for 500 more. You have Anthony Davis for 500 less. I would just rather roster LeBron and AD over Beal. I think I'd rather save over $1,000 and play Jokic as well. Even though it's a tough spot for Jokic, I still like him a good amount. If Van Vliet and Serge Ibaka were to sit again, I mean, you have Pascal Siakam at 8,700. So even though Beal's been playing really well lately, I just don't know if I want to pay this $10,400 salary for him. I think there's other guys I'd rather pay up for today, specifically the two Laker guys, LeBron and AD. So other shooting guards we could take a look at. I mean, Wiggins, he should get all the opportunity he can handle, but this dude just doesn't do it. I mean, I think last time I checked that game, Sunday night or Saturday night against the Suns, he had like 10 fantasy points getting close to halftime. Like, he was just not playing that well, just not really aggressive, doesn't do much offensively. Even with all these guys out for the Warriors, potentially Draymond out, potentially Jordan Poole out, Curry's still not going to play. He was supposed to return today, but they came out and said that he's going to be out at least a couple more games. It's a great matchup against the Wizards. There's plenty of upside for Andrew Wiggins, but he's still really expensive. He's still $7,600. I think there's just other guys I'd rather roster. Like, for $2,000 less, you can get Damian Lee, who could potentially put up similar numbers to Andrew Wiggins. I mean, Damian Lee going to get just as much opportunity as Wiggins, with no Kai Bowman, who's going to be out for a while, potentially no Jordan Poole as well, maybe no Draymond. Those two guys could be out again. Like, we should see Damian Lee play massive minutes, probably 34, 36 minutes if I had to guess. He's only $5,600, which kind of feels expensive, but if you're going to get like 36 minutes from Lee against the Wizards, a great matchup, he could easily go for 35, 40 DraftKings points. Last time I checked the box score, he was having a good game Saturday night against the Suns, had like 15 fantasy points after the first quarter. So he's on pace to do well Saturday night. I expect him to keep the momentum going heading into this really good matchup against the Wizards. I like Damian Lee quite a bit. Even at $5,600, I think he's a really good play at that salary. Yahoo, he's really cheap over there. He's shooting guard. He's only $15. I think he stands out as one of the better shooting guard options over on Yahoo as well. But now we'll take a look at some other shooting guard plays. If Fred VanVleet's out again, I think Norman Powell at $5,100 is a fine guy to go to. Last game with VanVleet out, Norman Powell did get the start, played 36 minutes and had about 30 DraftKings points. I'd probably project him for similar numbers today. And at $5,100, he still feels a little bit too cheap if he is going to be starting and playing massive minutes. So I do have interest in him. Talked about Napier earlier. I think Napier's a really good option, a guy you could go to at $4,700. And then if Caruso starts again, if Danny Green is out, then Caruso at $3,300 is probably the best punt play at shooting guard. But let's go ahead and take a look at the small forward position now. So you got LeBron, Beal, two guys we already talked about. Other small forwards, I mean, Brandon Ingram at $7,900. I do have some interest in him. I played him a good amount the last time they faced the Lakers a couple days ago. He had a big game, 50 DraftKings points in 37 minutes. Had a really good game against Cleveland as well, 48 DK points in 33 minutes. After he was like sort of in that rough stretch where he was putting up disappointing game after disappointing game, he started to kick it up as of late. 2 back-to-back really solid outings against the Lakers and against the Cavs. Gets the same matchup today against this Lakers team. At 7,900, he's not a must-play or a core play for me, but I think he's definitely my favorite mid-range small forward. Like, I would for sure play Ingram over Wiggins today. Even though it's a tougher matchup for Ingram, I just think he gives you way more upside than Andrew Wiggins. So I like Brandon Ingram over him. Just don't think Ingram's going to be a guy I'd go out of my way to play today at 7,900. OG's coming off a monster game, but got priced up to 6,100, so I really don't feel like I need to go there. The guy I like most at small forward that I haven't talked about is Eric Pascal. Pascal surprisingly did not get the start Saturday with Draymond out. They decided to bring him off the bench, but last time I checked, even coming off the bench, he was still putting up a really big game Saturday. The Warriors did run an 8-man rotation in that game. If Draymond and Poole are out again, I expect they probably run an 8-man rotation again, which is going to give us a lot of viable options from the Warriors. We already talked about Damian Lee. Obviously, Pascal I really like. If you want to play Wiggins, I'm fine with that. But guys like Juan Toscano-Anderson we'll talk about. Dragon Bender started Saturday night, so he could maybe be a play. Marquise Chris I love in this matchup, and we'll talk about him. But Pascal at 5,200, even if Draymond plays today, I think Pascal still probably gets about 30 minutes, if not more. I mean, even with games where Draymond was playing, like Pascal was still getting 32, like 33 minutes. I mean, he played 36 minutes against the Kings. Even coming off the bench, like he has shown he can give you upside or has big upside. It's a great matchup against the Wizards. We know the Warriors have no incentive to win games right now. They're going to play their young guys as much as they can. So I really like Eric Pascal. If Draymond's out again, I'm going to like him even more. At $5,200 on DK and $15 on Yahoo, he really stands out as kind of one of the better like mid-range options at small forward, power forward. Yahoo's power forward, Draftkings, you got both eligibilities, so you could play him at either position. Really like Pascal today. I think the minutes should continue to be there. And like I said, if Draymond sits again, I think that just even solidifies his minutes even more. Toscano Anderson as well, you could target. He did start Saturday. If Draymond's out again, maybe they start him again. So at 3,700, he could be a fine value to go to. But yeah, I think that's probably it for small forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the power forward position now. So at the top here, I think Anthony Davis is just severely underpriced on DraftKings. He's one of my favorite plays today. Definitely my favorite stud option. Love him at 9,900 on DK. On Yahoo, you have LeBron at $53. You have AD at $51, and then you have Bradley Beal at $48. I do prefer AD over those guys as well. AD is just a stud that I want to pay up for today. Love this spot for him against the Pelicans. This is a matchup he's had a lot of success in this season, averaging 64 DraftKings points through 3 games against them. It makes sense for him to have success in this matchup. Pelicans really aren't that good of a defensive team. They have no answer defensively to stop AD. This game's going to be played at a really fast pace. We're going to see a lot of points scored in this game. I expect this game when totals come out, I expect this game does have the highest total on the slate. So at 9,900, I mean, AD is just way too cheap. He should be like 10.5, if not close to 11K in this matchup. He should definitely be priced up there with LeBron. We're just getting too much of a discount on Davis to ignore. So really like him at power forward. I think he's clearly the best pay-up option. You do have Pascal Siakam you could go to, who, if Ibaka and Van Vliet were to sit again, I would actually like Siakam quite a bit. Really benefited last game with those two guys out. Played 39 minutes, put up 47 DraftKings points. Just had a really good game overall. That was a really good matchup against Charlotte, who really struggles to defend bigs. Much tougher spot today against Denver, but this is a game you expect to stay close. We know Nick Nurse is going to run his starters into the ground. He's going to play Siakam 36, 38 minutes if it's a close game. And he's going to get more usage if Van Vliet and Ibaka wind up sitting. So I do have interest in Siakam. I just can't play him over a guy like Davis. I think I'd rather try and get to AD if possible. But then other power forwards, Christian Wood, a big injury we're going to have to watch today. He is currently questionable. If he were to sit, that would make guys like Sekou Nboya, maybe John Henson much more appealing. I mean, right now, like Christian Wood's playing 34, 35 minutes a night. I expect a lot of those minutes do get soaked up by John Henson, by Nboya. Maybe you see Thon Maker get some more minutes as well. If Wood plays, I don't really have a ton of interest in him at 7,500, but if he's out, that will open up a lot of viable options that we'll talk about in a second. But other power forwards, really not much that stands out in this mid-range. I think Rui's fine against the Warriors at 5,500, but probably not a core play for me. Same with like Bertans at 5,200, another guy you could go to. If Serge Ibaka's out again, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson did start last game with Ibaka out. He was really disappointing. Only 28 minutes, 16 DraftKings points. If he starts again, I'd be fine going right back to him as a value option. The price tag didn't really move. He's still cheap on DraftKings. He's 4,300. On Yahoo, he's still cheap over there as well. He is $13. So I do like RHA quite a bit if he starts again. Just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the status of Van Vliet and Ibaka as we head into Sunday. Dragon Bender started Saturday night. If he were to start again at 3,700, he could maybe be a value. And then you got these Detroit guys who could really benefit if Christian Wood were to sit. You got Thon Maker at 3,600. You got Sekou Nboya at 3K, stone minimum. I would have some interest in both those guys if Wood were to be out today. Both those guys would become viable, cheap options, especially Nboya. I'm not sure how many minutes he's been getting recently. He's been playing about 20, 24 minutes a night. I expect he'd probably get to like the 30, 32 if Wood were to sit. Thon Maker's been playing about, he's barely been getting time. He only played 8 minutes that last game, which is kind of concerning. But I would expect him to pick up a few more minutes as well. We'll talk about John Henson when we get to center. I think John Henson would probably be like the biggest beneficiary. Nboya second, and then Henson third. But let's go ahead and hit on the center position real quick, just before we end the video. So at the top of the center position, you got Jokic, 9,300 against Toronto. Really tough spot for Jokic. Not the best matchup. We know Toronto is a really good defensive team. Jokic just has too much upside, though, to ignore at this salary. I know he's been disappointing as of late, but a lot of that could be due to blowout, could be due to like some foul trouble. Had 4 fouls against Detroit, only played 28 minutes. Against that game against the Clippers, they lost that game by almost 30 points. In a game against Toronto that should probably be close, we should expect Jokic to play about 32, 34 minutes. I can't play Jokic over AD today. I probably would rather play Siakam for cheaper. But if I was playing multiple lineups, I mean, I would not completely fade Jokic. I would want exposure to him. I think he would definitely be ranked behind guys like AD, LeBron, Siakam, even maybe Bradley Beal. I'd probably play Jokic for 1,000 less than Beal, but definitely like Davis, LeBron, Siakam I'd prefer over Jokic. But still would want to get some exposure to him if I was playing multiple lineups. But other centers, looking at guys we haven't talked about. So Marquise Chris, I think he's probably one of my favorite options at center today. Love this matchup for him against the Wizards. Love his price tag as well on DraftKings. He's still really affordable at $5,500. He was very affordable Saturday night. He was $5,400 against the Suns. I liked him quite a bit then. I like him a lot today, an even better matchup. We know the Wizards, this team is just not a good defensive team. This is one of the best matchups you can get. They're playing at the 5th fastest pace in the league. They rank dead last in defensive rating. In terms of rebound percentage, this is also a very bad rebounding team. They are dead last in rebound percentage. Just these two teams are. Dead last and second to last, with the Warriors ranking 29th in rebound percentage. So maybe this is a spot where Chris could pick up a few extra boards. Gonna get the opportunity. I mean, they really don't have any bigs they could turn to. Kevon Looney's healthy and he's active, but they're just not giving him many minutes. They're going to play Marquise Chris probably 28 to 30 minutes, if not more. Especially if Draymond were to sit, that would just solidify Chris's role even more. Love him on this slate. I think he does stand out as one of the better center options when you factor in salary. $5,500 on DK. Looking over to Yahoo, he's only $20 over there. I like Marquise Chris quite a bit on Yahoo as well. If Ibaka were to play, I mean, his price has come down on Yahoo. He's down to $23. He is, I think, $6K or $6,300 on DK. So Ibaka could definitely be a viable option if he plays today. I think I would prefer Chris, though, for the savings. Harry Giles is someone I like as well. He's $5,600 on DK. I can't play him over Chris. I'd rather roster Chris for a similar salary. But if we do switch over to Yahoo, I think Giles is much more viable there. He is $4 less than Chris. You do get a little bit of savings. Giles is still just too cheap on Yahoo. He should probably be priced around $20, $21. You're still getting a discount on him. I mean, the dude's been incredibly productive as of late, giving you about 29 plus fantasy points in 4 straight games, getting the minutes as well, 31, 23, 24, 30 minutes. He seems locked into about 25 to 30 minutes a night. I know this game against OKC, he was kind of dealing with foul trouble. I'm pretty sure both these games against the Thunder and against the Warriors, he was dealing with foul trouble in those games, so that was kind of the only reason he played 23, 24 minutes. Most nights, we're probably going to get about 28, 30 minutes from Harry Giles. This is a very productive player when he gets the minutes. He can score, he can rebound, he can get the defensive stats as well, can easily give you 30, 35 fantasy points if he does play 28 to 30 minutes. If Christian Wood were to sit, I mean, Christian Wood's not a good defender, but if he were to sit, that would probably just make it an even better matchup for Giles. So I do like Giles quite a bit at his Yahoo salary of $16. I think on DK, he's in play at $5,600, but if I was going to roster him, it would probably be over on Yahoo, where the price tag is still too cheap, in my opinion. And then the last guy that we'll talk about at center is John Henson. So John Henson has been starting recently for Detroit. Hasn't been getting a ton of minutes, just 23, 21, 19 minutes. But you have to think, Christian Wood, he's been playing 34, 35 minutes. Christian Wood questionable today. If he were to sit, I expect we probably get 26, 28 minutes from John Henson, maybe even 30 minutes. At $3,800, he'd probably become a very good value option. John Henson is a pretty productive player when he gets the minutes. Just a guy that can give you a double-double, can block shots if he gets 28, 30 minutes, could easily give you 25, 30 DK points. So $3,800, just keep an eye on that Christian Wood news. If he's out, I'm going to really like John Henson. He'd become a really good value at $3,800. But yeah, guys, I think that's probably it for center. I think we covered everything for today's short slate. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I really appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you have not yet, you can follow me on Twitter. Link down below is my Twitter account at DFS by Noah. If you do want to give me a follow there, I would greatly appreciate it. You can also check out the Patreon. It is the beginning of the new month, so those are usually the best times to join Patreon to become a member. If you want to see all the exclusive content I have to offer over there, the Patreon is linked down below. You can get access to our Discord chat, get access to my updated core plays. My article that I write Monday through Friday will be posted over on Patreon as well. I do provide a lot of updated content over there, more than just what I put out on YouTube. I have content going up on Patreon, so check all that out. Drop a like, subscribe, guys, and I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and good luck tonight. Peace.